What? You happy? I don't even have a bottle. You can go play? Got some pretty little ones. Rocky. He's trying to nurse my finger. He wants a bottle. Hi. What are you doing? We raise Boer goats. This is our first big kidding season. It's a lot of fun coming out here, watching the babies play and jump around all over. We have 13 babies right now. And we have 2 goats still left to kid. There's Hazel and the mamas. What? That's one of Hazel's babies. What are you doing, Rocky? Rocky, our little bottle baby, he was a twin, and I think that's actually right there, his sister, Hershey. But when he was born about half the size of her, and Mama didn't reject him, but she just wasn't taking care of him quite as well as she was Hershey, which is just nature. They're going to naturally favor the healthier, stronger baby that's most likely to survive. So, yes, and they have found a hole in the gate. So we immediately pulled him and took him in the house and made him a bottle baby. We were syringing colostrum to him. He couldn't even take a bottle at first. He was so little, and it's a learning curve for him too. But we syringed him colostrum like every 2 to 3 hours for the first 24 hours or so, and then switched him to the powdered formula for baby goats. And he's done great. He's just about caught up to her in size, and he's so friendly and he's so sweet. Bottle babies are a lot of work, but we love him. And another problem Mom had is that she only had one teat that was working. And we didn't know that when we bought her. But talking to our vet, he said it didn't seem like a new issue. It seemed more like a recurring old problem, which is something that we just didn't know when we bought her. So she wouldn't have been able to support them both adequately anyway. So it ended up working out good that he needed a little extra care and to be on a bottle. But he lived in the house with us for the first 5 or so days in a tote full of straw in our house. So we weren't having to walk to the barn at all hours of the night to feed him and stuff. But he's been out with the goats ever since. He's almost 5 weeks old, and he's doing great. A little ball of energy. And he's a little fatter than some of the ones that are being raised by their mama. You can't tell he's a bottle baby that we didn't think was going to make it through the first night. So he's doing awesome. So if you've ever talked to anybody who owns goats, they'll tell you the hardest part is keeping them in. And that if it'll hold water, it'll hold a goat. Because you have to deal with things like this. I opened the gate in the back of their pasture to let them back in our woods. We have several acres of land. Thought, oh, well, they would love the woods. And it's fenced, but it's fenced for cattle. Well, I opened it, and they went in the woods and they were eating. I went and ran an errand, came back. They're nowhere to be found on our property because they had gone through one of the cattle fences across the road into the field across the street. So now I have an empty bag of feed, walking them back. Maybelle left her babies. The donkeys are mad. The cows are mad. Everybody hears the feed bags. They're ticked. I brought your mama back, babies. All right. Got everybody in. Now, I gotta walk back down the road. Hi. Now I gotta walk back to the field down the road and get my Jeep that I had to leave there because I was afraid I was gonna run over one of the babies if I drove him back. Great way to kick off spring break. My Jeep is all the way over there by those trees. So I can get that. The bottle baby Rocky's trying to follow me. So I'm sure he will, and I'll just give him a ride back. Dropped our son off to go hiking and spend the night with his grandpa. And I planned on coming home and going for a walk. But this is not what I had in mind. All right, we are back in the Jeep. Are you trying to be sweet and snuggle? You know you were bad, I'm gonna put this guy up. Everybody else is locked up. We're gonna try to carry on with the day. So the goats did have all the way down to the road and follow the road. The road follows that tree line all the way around to where it starts getting pretty grown up. Come over to the tree line, back, and then you can kind of see where that stuff is over there. Is where the fence is that comes back, whoop, and connects to this, and then comes back to the cow barn. The goats had all of that, and we had it subdivided into, you can kind of see the post where we used electric to divide it up, and able to do some rotational grazing and stuff for the goats to help with pasture maintenance and parasite management in the goats and all that. And it worked at first until they got their winter coats and then decided, I guess the shock didn't feel that bad to them with their thick coats when they jumped through the electric. So they started jumping through the electric and going in that back corner over there where we had not redone the exterior fence yet. When we bought this place, it was an old cattle farm and it hadn't had cows on it for years. So a lot of the fencing was like run down and neglected, but it was really grown up. So we let the goats out and they, like, you couldn't see any of that fence by the road. And we put the goats over here. They ate all that grown up vegetation down. As they found holes in the fence or whatever, we would go in and patch them or put up a new run of fence or whatever needed to be done for that section. But that's very time consuming and we do both work full time. So we used electric to mark off the pasture as we got the fencing done and open up more to them a little at a time. Well, they started running through the electric and going through that back part where we had not redone the exterior fence yet, and crossing the road and going into that field that I found them in today. So since they couldn't behave, they got confined to this smaller pasture over here. It's still decent size for some goats, but it runs back along there. And then I'll go over to their gate and show all of the awesome vegetation that they had access to today. Hello. But they decided to forfeit that in exchange for a field. They have this gate here that we go through. And then back here, all the babies are wiped out from their adventure today. But back here they have this gate. And so this morning I thought, well, I'll open it and give them access to the woods. And the woods go all the way up to the house, the neighbor's house that's by the road, and comes down here, goes around. We have a pond over there, And then all that over to that next tree line is ours too. And the neighbor that owns behind all the trees, and that, well, you can't really see it now, there's pasture on the other side over there, on the other side of the trees. That neighbor doesn't even care if our goats go on there, because our goats and his cows, I mean, they kind of eat different stuff. So he said he's fine if we want to let the goats in the woods, and if they go through his fence and in his pasture, he doesn't care. But no, the goats go through there, find a hole in the old fencing where they used to always get out, and go across the street. So if a fence will hold water, it'll hold goats. You yawning? You little babies are tired. These are two pretty, pretty babies. These are hazels.